to Inspired Coach, or if you are joining us for the very first time, a big warm hello and welcome to you. We are on the Coach's Couch today, and I am really excited to answer this question ahead that has been submitted to us by a wonderful coach, because I happen to know that it is something that many other coaches, emerging coaches, and people who want to become a coach have asked themselves before, wondered about, and maybe even wrestled with in different ways before. And so I just hope, I think there's also a part of me that knows that this is going to be so incredibly helpful for a lot of people. And so thank you very much, Tanya Jones, for asking us this question. And you can find the wonderful Tanya at Tanya with a Y, TanyaJonesLifeCoaching.com, and also on Instagram, Tanya.Jones_life.coaching. And this today on the Coach's Couch is Tanya's question. Is it possible to be a successful, effective life coach if you haven't got your own life together? Sometimes, if I'm having a rough couple of days, normally parenting stuff, I worry about how can I coach people if I haven't got my own life on track. Well, Tanya, thank you for being brave and asking this question. And I really do mean that. I really do want to thank you for being brave, because to a certain extent, even though it is a falsehood, there can be a narrative and a story that exists out there, but that we also take on board and alchemize inside of ourselves, that somehow or another life coaches should be perfect or near to it, that they should live perfect lives, that they should never struggle with things like mental health difficulties or relationships or uncertainty about who they are, where their life is going, and that their businesses should be on a direct, straightforward trajectory upwards, and that there's nothing curly or fraught or untoward or backwards or anything like that about any of the things. And I could just go on and on and on. And for anybody that is listening right now, if you have had anything to do with the coaching industry in any form, even just for a short period of time, let alone a long period of time, then you will know exactly what it is that I'm talking about there. But again, it's really important for me to say that it is a falsehood. It is a narrative that has both been externally and internally created through our own thoughts and processes with lenses of perfectionism, black and white thinking, and just really trying to define and put ourselves in hard and fast boxes that have gotten us there. And we then take on board these beliefs about what a life coach should be, what they should look like, how they should behave, what sort of life they should have, even if it is the antithesis of who we are as a human being, and, put frankly, not actually possible. And so, Tanya, let's talk a little bit deeper about some of the things that you mention in there. So part of your question, you say, I worry about how can I coach people if I haven't got my own life on track? And that you link that with you having a rough couple of days, and that you say is usually related to parenting stuff. Well, I just want to let you know, as somebody that is a step parent to an adult age daughter now, but have been a step parent for her since she was a very young child and a teenager, and I know and are connected to many parents as well, that if you're not having a rough couple of days as a parent every now and again, and exchanges that are challenging and difficult and stretching of your heart, how does that mean that your life is not on track? I actually think it means that your life is on track. I think it means the opposite of that. Because let's face it, parenting and other relationships in our lives, they can be filled with love and joy and connection and celebration and many wonderful things. And they can also be filled with heartbreak, challenge, pushed boundaries, feeling disrespected, uh, being disrespected, feeling and being misunderstood, miscommunications, and so much more all the time. And these things are, in fact, a usual, normal, regular, everyday part of life. They do not necessarily mean that you're an incompetent parent, not that I'm saying at all that you've said that you are, but it doesn't mean necessarily that things aren't on track. Because by saying that, you're almost making it sound like everything has to not be rough or not be difficult or challenging in some way for you to be on track. Well, there's no such thing in life as a track like a train that is just straight the whole way. Like the train may curve, but it remains on the tracks all the time. As human beings, we stop, we start, we fall over, we go off the tracks, we veer off, we take different paths, we come back into alignment all the time. And this is, in fact, a normal, regular, usual way of existence and being. Nothing is on track all of the time. Or if we are having one of those wonderful purple patches, as they call them sometimes in life, where it feels like everything is on track and everything is going really well, that can be that way for a certain period of time, and then we might fall off track or go off track or veer in a different direction or need to pivot or have something happen that means that we have to stop and we have to reassess, and that might not necessarily feel great. Maybe we get sick or something happens with a family member, or we might start to struggle emotionally with something, and we then have to reassess where we're going and what's happening for us. Again, very, very normal circumstances. And I do not necessarily believe that these things mean that someone doesn't have their life together. It's just that they're in life, that they're living, that they're experiencing things. Because for all of us, being in life, doing this thing called life, can be at times messy and spiraling and challenging and difficult, and certainly something that doesn't go in a straight line. But the thing is that like with that narrative that I was talking about earlier, when we are marketed to and or presented and or we internalize ourselves, that for us to be able to help or hold space or support anybody else as a coach or even simply as a human being, we have to be perfect, or we have to be fully aligned, or our life has to be fully together, and we can never ever experience any difficulties or challenges, or if we do, we sort them out straight away and then we move on and everything clicks back in together immediately. We're creating an environment for ourselves and each other through believing that is impossible for us to meet, and certainly impossible for us to maintain, because it's not real. It's not living, because life is not linear and it doesn't move forward in a straight line where everything that we might possibly want or need falls into place perfectly all the time. You know, I love it when I see counselors, coaches, psychologists, space holders of any kind portrayed in dramatic or comedic circumstances in things like television shows and movies or, docos and things like that, where somebody is playing them as a character. Because I'm always fascinated, either good, bad, or indifferent, as to how they might be portrayed in a way where often people don't actually get to see what it is that we really do as a coach unless they're sitting there with us as the client. And whenever it is that I see a space holder portrayed in a way dramatically whereby they are a bit messy, a bit lost, imperfect, oh, I love it. I cheer so loud whenever I see characters that are portrayed in that way, because it breaks, or at least I hope helps other people to understand, even though it's drama, even though it's fiction, even though it's Hollywood acting, not real, all of those sorts of things, I hope that it goes at least some way to helping break this myth of the perfect space holder, the perfect life coach, the perfect counselor who always has their shiz sorted out all the time and never seemingly has any of the issues or problems that so-called normal or together people have. It's just not true. It is just not realistic. And it certainly is not the case in my own life, and certainly not the case in the lives of some truly incredible, successful, and, as you say, Tanya, effective life coaches that I know. And so we come back to your question. Is it possible to be a successful, effective life coach if you haven't got your own life together? Yes, Tanya? Yes, it is. Now, of course, it's important for me to say here that it depends upon how much not together is not together. Of course, for anybody who is experiencing a period of time in their life where you are not functioning as a human being and you need mental health care, physical health care, that you needing to tend to you is the only thing or the primary thing that you need to do to be able to function and get through every day, to nurture yourself, to turn up to your work or business, or to parent your children, or to be there for anyone else that you support in your life. If things are so extreme for you that that part of your basic life is overwhelming and you're just not functioning, and I know I've been there as a human being before, and I've had to take time out from my work and business to tend to myself in that way previously, then that is 100% what anybody must do to be able to have that time and then come back to what you love and want to do at a time when things are more stable. But based on your question, I don't believe that it's that kind of severity of things not being, as you say, together that you're really talking about here. It's when things can just feel, and I say just again in inverted commas, but when things feel frustrating, challenging, difficult, you might not necessarily think or feel you're at your best self. Again, those things are very normal and usual. Life is a roller coaster. It goes up and down. It has twists and turns all the time. And we have to tend and nurture and look after ourselves in times that feel very twisty or very down or very bendy, But it does not necessarily mean that just because those things happen, that somehow or another equates to you not being able to be an effective space holder for someone else. And what this requires for every single person who might be asking themselves this question is radical honesty. Radical honesty. Can you compartmentalize and put to the side for the time that you need to be in service with someone and for someone, anything that is happening in your life that does not necessarily feel amazing? But also, you need to also put aside in the time that you're with someone anything that feels amazing too. Because in the period of time when you are with your clients and devoted to them and being that effective life coach that you've asked about in this question, that means it's not about you. Your time with them must be completely devoted to them. And so, can you turn up to your sessions regardless of what may be happening with your parenting or for anybody else with other relationships in your life, or how you're feeling about or processing or walking through the world with certain things? Can you put those to the side for the period of time that someone is asking you to be there for them as their coach? Because as long as you can do that and fully be present and engaged with your client, then yes, you can be successful and effective at that, regardless of what may be happening in your own life. And again, that's where that honesty comes in, because no one but you, Tanya, and no one but you, lovely couch sitter here with me today, can answer that question for you but you. No one can answer that for you. Everybody experiences relationship difficulties, mental health concerns, challenging relationships, divorce, grief, loss differently. People have different time frames. They go through different emotions, different processes. No two experiences of those things are ever the same. And therefore, the time that one person may need to possibly step away from something that they do to move through that and work with that could be very, very different for someone else. And so that's where you've got to get honest with yourself around, can I put those things to the side, and can I turn up in this time with my client fully focused on them? If you can, please don't stop yourself from coaching. Please don't think that because those things are happening, that is somehow or another the reason why you shouldn't. Put yourself in the driver's seat and fully in control of how you turn up and be with your clients, not because of anything that may be happening outside of you, but because of the conscious decisions that you get to make about what those things mean for you and how you're walking through them, and how you can either put them to the side in your client time or not, and therefore work through them and come back to your coaching when you can. Please just don't think that the reason that they are happening in the first place is a sign that somehow or another you should not be coaching. Because in all my nearly 2 decades as a coach and the thousands of life coaches that I have trained and know in my life, oh my goodness, I've seen many of them go through experiences in life that have been incredibly difficult, challenging, deeply imperfect, of which we all are as human beings, and yet still they were able to turn up for their clients in varying different ways and their businesses to incredible impact. And I know that you can do that too, Tanya, for whatever it is that you might be desiring here for yourself too. And so for you and for everyone listening, please don't think that you can't coach people because your life is not perfect, or that you're having struggles or difficulties in some way, or that there are ups and downs, or that you look at the way that other people are doing things and think, well, I don't have it all sorted out like they do, etc. Coaching is a beautiful modality that exists between two human beings. And within that space holding, we always must allow room for vulnerability, mistakes, things that might not necessarily go to plan all of the time. And that includes having that grace, not just for our clients, but for ourselves as coaches too. Thank you so much, Tanya. What a wonderful question. I hope that is helpful for you and for everyone. And wow, if I can just say one final thing to finish this up today, is that if you are someone that is listening to this right now, and the number one thing that has been holding you back from making the leap or the decision to step into becoming a life coach, and that is because your life is not perfect or it sometimes feels like it's off track, I really hope that this episode has been helpful for you today, because I am here, very here, for coaches that embrace their imperfections, that lean into their vulnerability, their mess, their shadows, and everything else in between, because that is where you get to become a truly embodied, whole, powerful space holder, because you're not ignoring any part of yourself or your life that requires your love, care, and attention. You are not just somebody that is standing beside yourself and believing in yourself and being with yourself when things are great and when things feel great and you're shining and doing well. But in fact, you can show yourself and others that you can turn up for you when things don't feel that great and aren't going to plan maybe as much as you would like them to. That's when you become an incredible space holder for yourself first. And then your clients get to benefit from that so deeply as well.